Okay, so how about on the client components? So basically, you can use any thin or rich client, alright, as long as they meet these requirements. Okay, the first requirement that you need to take note is you need to have Internet Explorer 6 or later. Okay, for those of you who are thinking that how about if I want to use the party browser? Well, yes, you can. You can use like Firefox or Mozilla, okay, or Google Chrome, as long as the browser can accept at the app component, right? The next thing that you need to take note is on your client machines, you need to have at least remote desktop connection client version 6.1. Okay, so for those of you who are thinking, how about if I want to use Linux machines to connect to VDI? Well, it's too bad that I can say is you can't, because on the Linux machines you cannot install remote desktop connection version 6.1. Last but not least, in order for you to access to VDI, you need to make sure that you have a reliable network connection. Okay, it depends on the speed of your network connection. If you are accessing from your internal network, you should be no problems. But for you, those of you who are thinking about accessing from external, from outside, okay, maybe Starbucks, okay, or using broadband or 3G, okay, you need to make sure that you have enough bandwidth to access to your VDI, okay, so you can have a real experience on VDI, right? Next, we are going to look into the guest virtual machine considerations that you need to take notes, right? In general, you can deploy virtual desktop images, okay? There are two ways of deployment, okay? The first deployment type is the static virtual desktop, okay? Uh, There's another term we normally use for static virtual desktop is persistent or personal virtual desktops. Alright. So what the static or persistent virtual desktop mean is you can map one virtual machine to one user. Okay. So that means each user will have their unique virtual machine. Okay. For example, in your environment, if you have, for example, 100 users, you want to use static virtual desktop. So then you need to deploy 100 virtual machines, right? The second deployment type is the dynamic virtual desktop, which is normally we call it as non-persistent. Okay. How the dynamic virtual desktop works is you have one single master image, and then you create multiple different disks. Okay. For your master image, you will install your operating system and all your applications. And then the differencing disk is going to connect to the master image. Okay, it acts as a parent and child relationship, right? One thing that you need to take note for dynamic virtual desktop is uh, the user data will not be saved when the user log off. Alright, so for this type of deployments, you need to implement roaming profile and also folder redirection. Okay, roaming profile allow you to have the same your desktop settings. Okay, for example, your wallpaper when they're accessing to different virtual machines. Alright, and then folder redirections allow you to have automatic reroutings of your standard folders. Okay, for example, your My Documents, okay, your Start menus, right, or My Pictures, all to a shared storage location. Okay, which allow you to do central management and also central backup as well, right? Alright, so moving on, let's look into the requirements for you if you decided to deploy static virtual desktops. In order for you to deploy static virtual desktops, okay, you need to make sure that your schema has already upgraded to Windows Server 2008. And then your domain functional level should be set at least Windows 2000 Server native mode. Okay, so if you have a Windows Server 2003 domain controller, you need to make sure that you have upgraded the schema, okay, to 2008, and your domain functional level set to 2000 server native mode. On your left, you can see is the user accounts properties when you access from Active Directory user and computers. Alright, this is the screen that you're going to see on your left if you are accessing using Windows Server 2003. Okay, in order for you to see additional tabs which is on your right. Alright, there's a one tab called Personal Virtual Desktop. Alright, so in order for you to see these tabs, you need to use 2008 R2, okay, Windows Server 2008 R2, or you can install Windows 7 RSet, okay, to access to Active Directory user and computer to see the additional tabs, right? On the virtual machine namings, alright, for static virtual desktops, you need to make sure that your virtual machine name must be fully qualified domain name. Okay, as you can see in the display on the screen, VDI 01-Win7 is my computer name, exactly the same computer names inside my virtual machines, and then contoso.com is my domain name. And then for those of you who want to deploy dynamic virtual desktops, okay, it is not necessary for you to use fully qualified domain names, right? So this is how you differentiate between static virtual desktop and dynamic virtual desktops. So that's all about VDI using remote desktop services. Next thing that I'm going to look into is the demo on how to build VDI, okay, with remote desktop services. Okay, for my demo infrastructure, I got one RD virtualization host, okay, and then I installed with all the virtual machines, all the different roles of remote desktop services, and then I need to have Active Directory. Okay, from here I got one Active Directory, and then I got RD virtualization host which running on physical machines, okay, RDS brokers, okay, RDS session host which I already configured as redirect mode, and then RD gateway and the web. I combine these two rows together into one virtual machine. Okay, and then I'm going to show you as well how to configure static virtual desktops and also dynamic virtual desktops. Alright.